Hello, everyone. My name is JJ Contessa. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at C1Secure. Today, I'm going to walk you through a demonstration of our Smart Compliance Suite built on ServiceNow. This purpose-built user experience sits on top of the integrated risk management application. It is designed for those entities that are in the process of performing control attestations, reviewing control attestations, as well as really viewing the corresponding actions that need to take place in order to bring non-compliant controls into a compliant state. In our experience supporting several enterprises and deploying IRM, we have found that this specific process tends to be where there's a lot of friction. And we've created these purpose-built user experiences to improve that process, to streamline it. And what we're also going to demonstrate today are three unique AI-based skills that help to dramatically improve the end user experience, accelerate the attestation workflow, improve compliance quality, and ultimately accelerate authorization of either individual entities, authorization boundaries, you name it. So without further ado, I'm going to dive in. So what I'm looking at is the home screen to our Smart Compliance Suite. And I'm really going to be representing today a couple of different personas. So first of which would really be a member of the organization that is responsible for performing control attestations. So to start out, I'm going to go into our attestations tab here, and you'll see a list of attestations which have been assigned to me. And for demonstration purposes here, I'm going to pick one. I'm going to go into vulnerability scanning. It shows as in progress. So as you'll see here, very similar to just and again, this is a visual representation of the control attestation form. So I could see here, what the control description is, the corresponding supplemental guidance. So I'm going to remove the implementation explanation here. And the first skill that we're going to showcase is one of which I, as the control owner, I have a good implementation statement. I'm going to go ahead and upload that momentarily here, but I'd really like for AI to evaluate my implementation statement to ensure that it is complete, to ensure that it fulfills all the assessment objectives of the control objective that has been assigned to this. So I'm going to go ahead and take a pre-drafted implementation statement. I'm going to drop that here. Okay, so I've uploaded that. And at the top here, you see our AI help. So the first skill we're going to activate is our AI check response. So oftentimes we see during the attestation workflow, compliance team members are heavily engaged with system owners. And it's mostly because they want to ensure that, hey, what I'm about to submit to you, is this accurate? Or are you going to fail this because I'm missing one specific component, or you didn't provide appropriate evidence, whatever the case may be. And we see that this happens time and time again. And if you scale this across hundreds or thousands of systems, it really becomes a very unsustainable process for the compliance team. So now we want to empower the end users with a mechanism to check their responses and get feedback, and then ultimately take corrective action right here in the system. So what you can see is our AI analysis results. And we have different criteria which we're going to assess. So an overall compliance status, completeness, and this is looking at the control objective itself, corresponding assessment procedures, as well as other reference data, confidence level, as well as what we feel the ultimate outcome is going to be. In this case, it's likely pass. So the implementation statement I provided was very in-depth. So overall feedback is very positive. I could see my strengths, recommendations, and furthermore, down here, you'll see suggested revisions. In this case, since my response was very accurate, that does not seem necessary, and I don't need to perform any further action here. So what it will help me though with is, what would good evidence look like? So again, I can close this. And then to complete the action, of course, I would just come here, select make my selection as far as if it's implemented or not. This will, again, require me to submit evidence, and I can upload that, and then I can submit that forward. So that's our first skill. And again, what we're trying to address here are instances where I have a pre-existing implementation statement. I'd like for AI to evaluate the quality of it and give me feedback on how I can improve it. So next one here, and the other piece you can do with this one, if you have nothing, you could simply say that I don't know how to respond, and the system will pre-generate you a response as well. So we're going to come back to our attestations here. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up a new attestation. We'll look at this one here, open system change. I'm going to come down here and remove our response. So before I jump into this one, our next skill here, let's say that I don't know how to respond at all. I don't really have context to what the control objective is asking of me. Again, we find this as a very common process that multiple control owners need to engage a member of the GRC team to really help them act as the translation layer. I don't speak the language of GRC. What is this control objective asking of me? How do I structure an implementation statement to ensure that I fulfill all of the elements of the control objective? Again, what does good evidence look like? So in this particular scenario, if I have no starting point, and let's just hypothetically say in this scenario, I don't really know what they're asking me from a change management standpoint, I could come up to my AI help here, and I'm going to select my coach. So coach provides a curated set of specific questions that we're going to use to help the control owner to develop a really high quality implementation statement. So let's go ahead and just put some responses here. Of course, we execute our changes in ServiceNow change management. All right, so now I've completed the responses here. I'm going to generate a response. So again, in this situation, we're going to use those prompting questions. And now the AI, if I come down here, you'll see that it has now curated and drafted a implementation statement for me. And what I will call attention to is that in this specific area, it has bracketed areas where I need to provide further context. So in this specific instance, it will ask, the specific formal process or tool needed is used to track and document system changes. And then, of course, it's asking me here for the policy or procedure reference to showcase that we have a formal policy for documenting, approving system changes inside the environment. So again, I can use this as a basis. And so again, in a typical enterprise, I have to engage GRC. I'm going on Teams. I'm asking them for help. I have to set up a meeting. We have to get on a call. So now, what a process would take, for a single control, easily over an hour. We've done this just in a matter of 2 minutes. I have something that's really high quality, and the GRC team, of course, will still be able to review this and validate it. But now we have structure. Now we can move this forward. And all I have to do is just put in a couple inputs here. I could submit this and I'm ready to rock. So again, now we've showcased, a scenario where I have a pre-existing implementation statement. I'd like it to review for quality and assessment. And then of course, I now have an instance here where I have my coach. They're going to guide me through the process. All I got to do is just provide some inputs and it's going to generate my response. So next, we're going to pivot over to our AI analytics. So this view is more intended for a member of the GRC team. They're looking over control attestations that have been submitted and are currently in a review state. So they're the guardians of ensuring that anything that goes forward to monitor is a high quality implementation statement. It doesn't require revision. And or if there are ones that maybe just require minor modifications or tweaks, what we want to prevent are downstream issues from being created when, frankly, they're not always necessary. We really want to reserve those for instances where we have a true compliance failure and we have items that are remediated. So in this particular scenario here, you'll see a couple things that we've created for this particular experience. First of which, you'll see an action. So based on the implementation explanation that's been provided, we are going to use AI to provide a risk score against the implementation. And so in this particular scenario here, if I pull this up, you see a lot of red on this one. So it's not particularly good. The system believes that there's quite a few failures here. And given the elevated risk score, we have a configuration in place where we will bypass the human review process. And we will automatically move this to, it'll stay in review. We'll put the control in that non-compliant state. We'll automatically generate the issue, again, using just core ServiceNow functionality. And then down here, though, this is more of the enriched insight that the analyst will be able to see. So it'll provide them with a compliance rationale, their reasoning, the identified gaps, recommendations to improve, suggestions for the implementation statement, what is good evidence. And then you'll see here that the issue has been generated. Now, the good thing that we'll also do here is that we extend the out-of-the-box features by enriching this with more context, right? Because now, our issue's been generated, but we got to give a roadmap to these control owners. We got to help them get to a compliant state faster, right? So what we'll generate down here is a proposed action plan. These are the tasks that the system owner needs to take in order to bring this control into a compliant state. So we'll outline, here's the proposed remediation action, here's who this would likely be assigned to, and here's the timelines that we estimate it'll take you to get that in place. So again, this just gives them a very demonstrable, executable plan of which they can review. They can take it as is. They'll likely need to make some modifications. But again, we're trying to eliminate the guesswork. We're trying to help these system owners and empower them with the information they need to take corrective actions themselves. So I'm going to come back to showcase a different example here. And this one you'll see here is in what we call the human review state. So these are these ones that kind of sit in purgatory, meaning that they're not great, but they're not terrible. And we need to, take a look at them and say, do we feel that this, is adequate? If not, what do we need to do to improve it? And you'll see up here that there are two additional UI actions that we have in place. So approve means that we're okay with what's been provided, the evidence is satisfactory, and we are going to move this to a monitor state. The GRC analyst also has the option here to reject the implementation statement. So if they do that, what we're asking them to do here is we will actually move this back to a test. And what we want to try to address here are instances where they've provided an implementation statement. There are things about it which are satisfactory. However, there are some things that we would like to see improved. And rather than, but they've shown enough that we feel that the control is compliant or that the control is in place, but we need to get these other pieces improved. So rather than just creating an issue, we can send this back to them, provide commentary as to what we would like updated, and then the control owner will then have the opportunity to make those assigned revisions, resubmit, and again, now we're mitigating an issue from being created, elongating system compliance, and just keeping that process in place. So again, also providing the same metadata as we showed on the prior view. But again, this is one where, again, we sit in this needs human review state. So the final one down here that we wanted to showcase is our AI pass. So in this particular scenario, what we do here is we also bypass that human review process. What we're trying to do is accelerate that review cycle and really only bringing attention to items to the GRC team which require their assessment. So either those that are in that human review state, and then again, for any of those which are really at the opposite end of the spectrum and are really not implemented, we're just going to bypass the review process altogether, create the issue, and get going on the remediations. In this particular scenario here, the control implementation statement was of really high quality. We're going to bypass that human review. We're going to move this right to monitor. The control is compliant, and we're all set. And again, the evidence that's been submitted was satisfactory. Now, this element here is configurable. So if customers want to maintain that human in the review process in perpetuity for all controls, that's certainly something that can be done. Again, what we're trying to do here is introduce efficiencies. So using the AI and our risk scoring to accelerate that process forward. So the final piece that we wanted to showcase, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into one of these issues here. So now we're really back with the issue owner. So I'm the control owner here. My issue's been generated. Again, we're using all underlying ServiceNow functionality to do this. So I'm in that analyze state where I need to make a determination of how I am going to move this item forward. If I come down here to my details here, we carry over a recommendation, for the specific control. And I'm going to go ahead and just for demo purposes, remove this. So hang on one sec. Let's refresh this here. Okay. So in the prior view, we showed you that we will dynamically generate a proposed action plan. Now, what we can do is I can take my recommendation here. I could drop this into my action plan. And when I do, you'll see here that there's a validate action plan option. So what we now do is extend this one step further. Again, what we're trying to do for the control owner is give them a basis to start. What are the proposed actions? You're going to have to make some modifications and tweaks, based on your understanding of the environment, who the assigned to is going to be. But what we can do here is we can actually use AI to validate the action plan. So before they advance forward, into the formal process of executing the remediations, we can go ahead and do that. And you'll see here that in the activity stream, we will provide an AI action plan validation. Come back here, and you'll see here that we provide them with feedback. So the status is good. We have a good plan. They'll provide suggestions for missing elements or items we can add, and then suggestions for improving the actual action plan. So again, what we're trying to do is ensure that by the time this gets back to the GRC team for review, there is strong alignment on what the proposed action plan is. We feel that there's no missing steps. We feel that if we take these corresponding corrective actions, we have validation that, yes, this will in fact address the identified gaps. So again, what we're now trying to do in this process is streamline that compliance remediation exercise, minimize the number of instances where the GRC team has to send these items back for review or back to a work state because they're incomplete. So all of these things cumulatively dramatically accelerate the process of performing control attestations, addressing instances of non-compliance, accelerating the adoption and frankly implementation of compliance control management inside of an enterprise, and provides a very much improved user experience for both the persona of those that are participating as stakeholders in the IRM program, as well as those that are the GRC analysts who are responsible for running and reviewing these specific compliance activities inside the enterprise. We hope you liked today's demo. If you'd like to learn more, please visit us at C1Secure.com. Thanks for watching.